You believe the rich win their advantage by day. I tell you they win it at night. While most men think the battle of life is decided in offices, factories, and marketplaces, I have discovered a quieter battlefield, hidden in plain sight. It is not the boardroom, not the workshop, not the busy street. It is a small, silent room, lit by a single lamp when the day is finished and the world is growing still. It is the hour before you sleep. Watch the average man at the close of his day. He falls into bed like a soldier who has thrown down his weapons. His body is tired, yes, but his mind is noisy. He replays his mistakes. He turns his debts over and over like a stone in his hand. He worries about tomorrow, about what might go wrong, about what he lacks. He gives his last waking thoughts to confusion, fear, and complaint. Then he closes his eyes and expects to wake renewed. But the man of the 1% behaves very differently. He does not stumble into the night. He enters it. He does not collapse into sleep. He approaches it with intention, as a general approaches a war council. He understands something the majority have never been taught. The last thoughts you entertain before sleep do not disappear. They descend. They sink into a deeper part of the mind and work there, all through the night, shaping the man who will rise in the morning. By day, the conscious mind is noisy. It argues, it doubts, it questions. By night, that noisy part grows quiet, and another mind comes forward, calm, obedient, unimaginably powerful. That inner mind, which I call the subconscious, does not debate your words. It simply accepts them and builds according to the pattern you give it. The tragedy is that most men hand this inner builder nothing but wreckage, memories of failure, anger at others, fear of the future. They deliver a bundle of worries to the mind that never sleeps and then wonder why they wake heavy, discouraged, without direction. The 1% do something else. They hand that same inner builder a clear instruction. There is, in truth, a simple nightly trick, a mental ritual used by the truly successful to stay ahead while the rest of the world sleeps. It is not complex. It does not require special education, fine clothing, or large sums of money. It requires only this, that you become master of the last hour of your day. In that last hour, the rich do not feed their minds with confusion. They feed them with command. As you listen to my voice, I want you to imagine that tonight can be different from every night that came before it. Imagine that instead of drifting into sleep like a leaf carried by the current, you step to the edge of the day as a captain stands at the wheel of his ship. You decide what your mind shall carry into the night. You decide what tomorrow must begin to build. I speak to you calmly, but with great seriousness. This is not a game, and it is not mere comfort. I am offering you a key that has unlocked more fortunes than any wage or stroke of luck. What you do with this key will not only touch your own life, but the lives of those who depend upon you. By the time this message ends, you will know exactly what to say before you sleep, how to say it, and how to use the night itself as your silent partner. You will understand how the 1% turn an ordinary bed into a council chamber, an ordinary pillow into a place of decision, and the simple act of closing their eyes into the beginning of a new future. Tonight, you will not simply lie down. Tonight, you will learn to issue orders. Orders to your own mind. Orders to your own habits. Orders to your own destiny. Breathe slowly as you listen. Let the noise of the day fall away. For in this quiet hour, I will show you how the truly wealthy win their advantage. Not when the sun is high, but when the lamp is low, and the world believes nothing important is happening. That is when everything important begins. By day, a man speaks with two voices. One is loud, restless, and impatient, the conscious mind. The other is quiet, obedient, and unimaginably powerful, the subconscious. Most men know only the first. They spend their daylight hours thinking, arguing, doubting, weighing possibilities, wrestling with decisions, and carrying the burdens of unfinished tasks. This conscious mind is useful, yes, but it is also defensive. It questions everything. It guards everything. It resists new ideas unless they arrive with great force. But something remarkable happens as the night approaches. As the body grows still and the eyelids grow heavy, the conscious guard begins to step aside. The gatekeeper grows drowsy. His resistance weakens. His objections fade. And behind him, waiting patiently, is the deeper mind, the one that never sleeps, never rests, never questions. This hidden mind is the workshop of your destiny. It is the builder of your habits, the keeper of your identity, the unseen author of your actions. By day it stands in the background. By night it comes forward, ready to receive instruction. And here lies the great secret. Most men never learn. The thoughts you deliver to your mind in the final hour of your day pass straight into this inner workshop, uncontested. They become blueprints. They become commands. They become the quiet forces that shape your tomorrows. But observe how the average man uses this sacred hour. He lies down with a crowded mind. He replays the day's disappointments. He rehearses unpaid bills, old insults, imagined fears. He turns his failures over and over, like a stone he cannot put down. He wonders why he is not further along, why fortune has not smiled upon him, why nothing seems to change. He believes he is resting, but he is not resting, he is programming. And what he programs is misery, uncertainty, repetition of the old life. So he rises in the morning with the same dull heaviness he carried into the night. His face is tense, his thoughts are scattered, his decisions are weak. He is living yesterday again, not by fate, but by nightly instruction. For the subconscious mind obeys repetition, not intention, and most men repeat their fears more often than their aims. Now consider the 1%. These men understand that the night is not a place of escape, it is a place of power. They protect the final hour of their day as a general protects his strongest position. They do not fall into bed. They enter it with intention. They do not drift into sleep. They direct it. While the average man allows fatigue to choose his final thoughts, the successful man chooses them deliberately. He knows. The order given at night becomes the action taken by day. So he does not review the day's troubles. He does not dwell on what went wrong. He does not allow regret or worry to pass through the gates of his inner world. Instead, he gives his subconscious a task, a clear command, a single aim, a definite sentence spoken with calm authority. He ends the day not with confusion, but with clarity. He whispers to his inner builder, "This is what we are creating. Begin at once." And while his body sleeps, that deeper mind moves silently, arranging ideas, strengthening belief, constructing plans, attracting solutions, and preparing him to rise with purpose. This is not fantasy. This is not superstition. This is law. The night mind accepts what the day mind resists, and the wise man uses this law to rise above the masses. Guard this hour. Treat it as sacred. For the mind you take into sleep is the mind you awaken with, and the man who commands his nights commands his future. Now let me show you, with simple portraits, how the greatest men I ever studied ended their days. For though their wealth differed, their habits differed not at all. Consider Andrew Carnegie. Many believed his genius lay in steel or strategy or opportunity, but I tell you plainly, his greatest talent was the command of his own mind. Each night, long after the factories had quieted and the world believed him at rest, Carnegie would sit alone with a small piece of paper, his definite aim written in his own hand. He did not read it hurriedly. He did not skim it as a man reviews a ledger. He read it slowly, as one repeats an oath. He allowed the words to sink beneath the surface of thought. He impressed them upon his inner world until they became as familiar as breath. Then, and only then, would he retire. He understood that the fortune he commanded by day was built first in the silent hour, when the mind is open and obedient. Now look to Henry Ford. Ford was a man many called stubborn, but I knew his supposed stubbornness was not obstinacy, it was certainty. I once learned that after a public failure, when critics mocked his ideas and experts declared his vision impossible, Ford refused to lie down with defeat on his mind. He would sit in the stillness of night and repeat to himself, not loudly but firmly, "I know my vision is sound. I know my plan will prevail." He did not allow his subconscious to sleep on confusion. He fed it only certainty. And in time, the world yielded to the man who refused to yield to doubt. But let me bring you closer to earth with a simpler story. Years ago, in a small town far from industry and fame, I met a humble shopkeeper. He owned a modest store, one room, uneven floors, little foot traffic. He was not educated in the ways of great finance. He did not have patrons, investors, or special advantages. But each evening, after closing his shutters, he would lock the door, sit beside the dim light of a single lamp, and whisper the same sentence to himself, "My trade grows because I grow. My mind expands, and my world expands with it." Night after night, he repeated that quiet declaration, not as hope, but as law, not as poetry, but as instruction to the deepest part of himself. I returned to that town 10 years later. His small room had become 3 rooms, then 5. His shop had grown into a business that fed half the families in that region. And when I asked him what changed, he answered with humility, "Only my way of thinking at the end of the day." Mark this well, for it is the difference between the ordinary and the exceptional. The advantage of the 1% is not found only in education, nor in capital, nor in lineage. Their advantage lies in the thoughts they choose in the final minutes of the day. For while most men fall into sleep, burdened by memory, the successful fall into sleep, guided by intention. This is the truth I wish to place firmly in your hands. The difference between the crowd and the 1% is not only what they do when the sun is high, but what they whisper to themselves when the lamp is low. Before I reveal the exact nightly practice used by the most successful men I have ever known, you must understand the law that governs it. For without understanding, the ritual becomes empty, and empty rituals hold no power. I speak now of the law of night suggestion. It is a simple law, older than industry, older than commerce, older than any science man has attempted to name. And yet, though simple, it governs your destiny with the quiet force of gravity itself. Listen closely. What you repeat with feeling just before sleep becomes law to the subconscious mind, not advice, not suggestion. Law. During the day, your conscious mind argues, doubts, questions, resists. It is like a guard at the gate, always awake, always skeptical. But as you grow drowsy, that guard grows weak. It steps aside. The gate swings open, and the words you speak in that final fragile hour slip past the threshold and settle in the deepest chamber of your being. It is there, in that silent workshop of the night, that your future is assembled. This is why negative thoughts spoken before sleep are so destructive. A man may say to himself, "I am tired of failing. I fear tomorrow. Nothing ever changes." And he believes these phrases harmless simply because he whispers them in the dark. But I tell you plainly, each repetition becomes a chain. Each fear becomes a command. Each complaint becomes a brick in the prison he builds for himself. The subconscious does not argue. It does not test. It does not evaluate. It only obeys what is repeated with emotion. Yet the opposite is also true, and this is where power hides. When a man speaks a clear, definite, confident thought just before sleep and repeats it with feeling, not weakly, not casually, but with the quiet certainty of a master giving instruction, that thought becomes a key that unlocks new identity, a key that opens new opportunity, a key that reshapes habit, attitude, and action from within. You need no wealth to use this key, no special education, no secret association, only the ability to speak with intention in the final minutes of the day. Let me give you now the rule in its simplest form. Your last clear thought is tomorrow's first construction order. Whatever you feed the mind in the last waking moments, it will spend the night building. If you offer it fear, it constructs more fear. If you offer it strength, it constructs more strength. If you offer it a definite aim, it constructs the path toward that aim. This is not speculation. This is not superstition. This is law. And now that you understand the law, I shall take you a step deeper, not into mysticism, but into mastery. For the time has come to reveal exactly what the 1% say before they sleep and how they say it, so that the night itself becomes their servant and their silent architect. Prepare yourself, for the trick is simple, but its simplicity is what makes it mighty. Now that you understand the law, I will give you the very tool the successful guard with such secrecy, not out of selfishness, but because most men would never believe that something so simple could hold such extraordinary power. I speak of the one-night sentence, not a paragraph, not a collection of wishes, not a dozen scattered ideas muttered without conviction, just one single sentence, crafted with precision, spoken each night with feeling, and allowed to sink into the subconscious as your final command of the day. This is the trick, the ritual. The quiet advantage of the few who rise while others remain bound to their circumstances. The subconscious mind does not answer to clutter. It does not build from confusion. It obeys definiteness, and rejects the vague and a single sentence. Repeated nightly with emotion holds more influence than 1,000 weak affirmations spoken without intention. The mind, like metal upon the anvil, is shaped not by scattered taps, but by one repeated, deliberate strike. A proper night sentence rests upon 3 invisible pillars, though you must feel them rather than recite them like a formula. The first is a definite aim, something clear, unmistakable, not a mere hope or dream. The second is a present tense identity, for the subconscious does not act on I wish or someday. It responds only to the language of being. And the third is a spirit of service, for all genuine wealth and strength are born from the value you bring to the world. Allow me to speak to you as I have spoken to earnest students who sought to reshape their destiny. A sentence might be, I am a calm, decisive, prosperous man, earning wealth by rendering useful service with excellence. Or I earn increasing income each month through value that improves the lives of others. Or I walk with clarity, courage, and purpose, and I attract opportunity because I serve with integrity. Or even I am the master of my mind and the builder of my fortune, and each night my subconscious strengthens my path. These statements are simple, but do not mistake simplicity for weakness. A sword is simple too, yet in trained hands it cuts through all resistance. Your sentence must feel true the moment you speak it with emotion, even if it is not yet visible in your outer world. The subconscious does not create from what you are living now. It creates from what you instruct it to build. Never forget this. One sentence spoken with conviction outweighs 10 spoken without belief. Most men scatter their thoughts like seeds tossed into the wind. No direction, no consistency, no repetition. The night mind does not obey scattered seeds. It obeys the seed planted again and again in the same place until it takes root, pushes upward, and becomes unshakable. Now let this line echo within you. The words I speak before sleep become the man I wake up as. Say it again, slowly, deliberately. The words I speak before sleep become the man I wake up as. This is the essence of the ritual, the silent practice carried by the 1% into the darkness each night. One sentence, spoken with feeling, delivered into the subconscious like a royal command from a king to his kingdom. And in time, the kingdom obeys. Now I want you to slow your breathing just a little. Not forced, not dramatic. Simply natural, as though you were preparing to step into a quiet room where the noise of the world cannot follow. Inhale gently, exhale fully. Let the day begin to loosen its hold. I want you to imagine now that you are standing at the entrance of a long, silent corridor. The air here is still, warm, almost golden, as though the walls themselves were alive with a faint glow. This corridor exists within you. Not in the world outside, but in the deeper chambers of your mind, where thought becomes substance and desire becomes blueprint. Walk slowly. Your footsteps make no sound. The corridor bends slightly, guiding you inward, deeper, closer to the place where your subconscious works tirelessly, night after night, shaping the unseen foundations of your destiny. As you reach the end, you come upon a door, simple, wooden, familiar. Push it open. Inside, there is a workshop. It is not cluttered or chaotic. It is clean, still, perfectly arranged, built for focus, built for creation. The air carries a sense of waiting, as though something within this room has been expecting you. In the center, there is a desk. On that desk lies a single sheet of paper. Your night sentence is written upon it. Clear, confident, alive with intention. Walk toward it. Read it once more in your mind. Feel the truth of it rise in your chest like a steady flame. And now, I want you to notice a figure standing beside the desk. This figure does not speak. He does not rush. He simply waits, calm, powerful, eternal. This is your subconscious mind in symbolic form. The silent worker, the tireless builder, the craftsman who never sleeps. His presence is not intimidating. It is reassuring. He has built every habit you have ever carried, every belief you have ever held, every pattern you have ever repeated. And now he is ready to build something new. You pick up the sheet of paper. You hand it to him. He accepts it with a slow, deliberate nod. No words, no need for explanation. The moment he takes it, you feel a subtle shift in the room, as though gears you cannot see have begun to turn. A quiet force awakens, begins arranging, adjusting, constructing. This is the moment most men never reach. This is the handover. This is the command. Now breathe with me. Inhale softly, as though drawing the sentence into your chest. Exhale slowly, releasing every fragment of doubt. Again, inhale the sentence, exhale the doubt. Each breath carries your command deeper into the workshop, deeper into the machinery of the subconscious, where thought becomes instruction and instruction becomes reality. Watch the worker now. He has already begun. Blueprints unfold from invisible shelves. Materials appear out of the quiet air. Pathways begin to take form. Connections align. Obstacles shift. Circumstances arrange themselves. You do not need to supervise him. You do not need to explain the how or when or where. He understands the sentence far better than you do. It is his language. It is his law. Now step back. Let him work. Feel your breathing soften even more. Feel the weight of your body sink deeper into rest. Let the workshop continue its labor as you drift. And as you do, let these words settle into the very center of you. While my body rests, my mind arranges the circumstances of my success. Breathe. Each night I speak. Each morning my world obeys a little more. Again, each night I speak, each morning my world obeys a little more. Feel this truth echo through the corridor, through the workshop, through the silent worker who now constructs your tomorrow. You are not merely falling asleep. You are commissioning your future. You are stepping into the quiet chamber where destiny is drafted. Now allow the image of the workshop to fade softly, slowly, like a lantern dimming at the end of a long night, knowing that the work continues even as you surrender to rest. Your only task now is simple. Inhale your sentence, exhale your doubt, and let the night complete what the day began. Let me now share with you a few stories, real souls I encountered in my years of study, men and women who discovered the quiet power of the night and used it to alter the very direction of their lives. I tell them not to entertain you, but to reveal the inner mechanics of this law. For once you see how it has shaped the lives of others, you will understand how it can shape your own. The first is Samuel. When I met him, he was a modest clerk in a small office, overworked, underpaid, and drowning beneath a mountain of debt he could scarcely look at without feeling his ribs tighten. Each evening he returned home exhausted, frustrated, certain that life had placed him on a track from which he could never escape. His nights were filled with worry. He rehearsed failure. He reviewed his fears, and thus every morning he woke as the same man who went to bed. One night, after reading one of my early manuscripts, he decided to try the simplest part, the night sentence. He crafted it carefully, even timidly at first. It read, "I am a capable, valuable man, advancing toward prosperity through the excellence of my service." He whispered it before sleep. The next night he repeated it, and the next, and the next. Within weeks he noticed a subtle shift. He walked into his workplace with a straighter posture, a clearer tone, a gentler confidence. He began taking initiative, small things at first, then larger tasks. His employer saw it. His clients felt it. And within a year, that same clerk, once drowning in debt, was offered a partnership stake in the business. Do you see? The night trick did not hand him money. It handed him identity. And identity built the fortune. Now let me speak of Eleanor. She was a teacher, a kind, intelligent woman. Yet she lived tormented by worry. She doubted her worth at every turn. She believed she had little to offer, despite the fact that her students adored her. At night, when she lay in bed, her mind would replay every small mistake until her confidence was threadbare. When she heard me lecture on the power of the final thought, she approached me afterward with tears in her eyes, asking if something so simple could truly alter the course of her life. Well, Lee had told her, only if you repeat it until your subconscious accepts it as fact. Her sentence became, "I teach with wisdom, calm, and purpose, and my work opens doors for others and for me." Every night she wrote it. Every night she spoke it slowly. Every night she drifted into sleep, letting that identity take form. Within a matter of months, her demeanor changed. She carried herself with a quiet authority that parents noticed, colleagues respected, and students absorbed like sunlight. Her ideas for a specialized school, once only timid dreams, became proposals. Those proposals became plans. Those plans became action. She eventually founded a small academy focused on creative learning, and it flourished. Again, the night trick did not grant her luck. It granted her a new self. Lastly, let me tell you of Luis. Luis was a young trader, fiercely hard-working, but constantly sabotaged by fear. Each night he fell asleep, replaying losses, imagining ruin, and doubting his ability to make clear decisions. His mind was a battlefield, and every morning he stepped into his business already defeated. When he encountered the principle of the nightly sentence, he embraced it with discipline. He wrote, "I act with clarity, courage, and steady judgment, and my work creates increasing success." He repeated it each night, not frantically, not with desperation, but with calm intention. Soon, his decisions grew sharper, his reactions steadier. The cloud of panic that once ruled him lifted, replaced by a grounded confidence he had never known. His business, once erratic, became focused, profitable, predictable. It was not the market that changed, it was the man. And so I ask you now, do you see the pattern? Do you understand the quiet thread woven through each of their stories? None of them relied on chance, none waited for fate, none begged for fortune. They simply changed the final instruction they gave their minds each night. The night trick did not give them sudden blessings or mysterious luck. It gave them identity, stronger, clearer, truer than the one they carried before. And when a man's identity rises, his entire world rises with it. Now that you understand the nature of the night mind, let me take you into one of the greatest truths ever revealed to me in my years of study, a truth so simple, so absolute, that once a man grasps it, his entire life begins to reshape itself almost without effort. I speak of cosmic habit force. Most men believe they rise or fall by luck, by talent, or by circumstances. But I tell you plainly, they rise or fall by habit, and habit is nothing more than thought repeated until it becomes automatic. Cosmic habit force is the silent governor of your life. It is the law that takes anything you do consistently and makes it easier, stronger, more natural each time. It does not judge. It does not choose sides. It simply obeys whatever you repeat. And here lies the great danger. Most men repeat the wrong things. They repeat worry. They repeat self-doubt. They repeat limitation. And after enough nights of this, their subconscious accepts it as law, and their life becomes the outgrowth of that repetition. But just as easily, this law can be turned toward greatness. If you repeat confidence, you will act with confidence. If you repeat purpose, you will walk with purpose. If you repeat a definite aim each night, soon your very instincts will move toward its fulfillment. This is not mysticism. This is law. And law, my friend, is not moved by your mood. It is moved by your persistence. One night of speaking your sentence is not enough. 2 nights will not shift the machinery of your subconscious. Even a full week may only scratch the surface. But 30 nights, 30 consecutive nights of the same thought, spoken with the same emotion, at the same quiet hour, will begin to set the new identity in place. The old patterns will weaken, the new pattern will take hold, and your days will start to follow the command that your nights have established. So here is the challenge I give to every sincere seeker. For the next 30 nights, without fail, practice the night ritual exactly as I have instructed. Choose one sentence, and do not alter it. Choose 1 hour, or as close to it as life allows. Sit with the same calm, the same posture, the same intention. Speak the sentence not casually, not mechanically, but with the feeling of a man declaring truth. Let the words pour not only from your lips, but from your spirit. Do this, and you will discover that repetition is not drudgery, it is power. For each night you repeat your chosen sentence, the subconscious moves a little closer to accepting it as reality. And once it accepts it, your actions will follow without hesitation. You will no longer have to force discipline. Discipline will arise on its own. You will no longer chase opportunity. Opportunity will find you because you will now radiate the identity that attracts it. You will no longer wonder if you are capable. You will feel capable at the deepest level. So let this affirmation settle into your being. Each night I repeat my aim until my actions obey it without hesitation. Say it gently at first. Say it again with a little more strength. Say it until the words no longer feel like a command you give yourself, but a description of the man you are becoming. For that is what this ritual offers. Not a momentary burst of inspiration, but a permanent transformation, night after night, thought after thought, sentence after sentence. Cosmic habit force will take your repetition and engrave it into your character. And once it is etched there, the world will have no choice but to adjust to the new, unshakable version of you. Begin tonight. Now that you know the power of the night ritual, I must speak to you with the same honesty I gave to every earnest student who ever sat in my study. For while the method is simple, the mind of man is clever in its resistance, and there are certain traps, common, predictable, subtle, that can weaken the entire process if left unguarded. Let me address them plainly, so that you may avoid the errors that have undone many before you. The first trap is constant change. A man chooses a sentence on Monday, replaces it on Wednesday, rewrites it on Friday, and begins anew the following week. He believes he is improving it, perfecting it, refining it, but he is only breaking the spell. The subconscious does not respond to inconsistency. It responds to insistence. One sentence, held with firmness, spoken without alteration, is worth 100 rewritten wishes. When you change the words, you change the direction, and the mind never receives the repeated command it needs to obey. The second trap is speaking without emotion. Some men recite their sentence as though reading a line from a newspaper, flat, cold, mechanical. They forget that the subconscious does not respond to words alone. It responds to the feeling behind them. You may say the right sentence with the wrong spirit and gain nothing. You must speak with fire, even if the flame is small at first. Speak as a man who means it. Speak as one issuing a decree to the deepest part of himself. Without emotion, the words remain shallow. With emotion, they sink into the very roots of identity. The third trap is ending the night in worry after the ritual is completed. A man speaks his sentence, feels the spark within him, and then 5 minutes later returns to rehearsing his fears. In doing so, he erases the work he has just done. You must guard the moments after your ritual. Do not wander back into the fog of anxiety. Do not revisit the disappointments of the day. Speak your sentence, feel it, allow it to settle, and then let your mind drift only toward rest. Let nothing contradict the direction you have just established. The fourth trap is treating the ritual as a game rather than a vow. Some approach it with curiosity, as though testing a trick or dabbling in a novelty. But this ritual is not a toy. It is a contract with your own subconscious mind. Treat it with respect, and it will reward you. Treat it lightly, and it will remain silent. Approach each night as though you were placing a brick in the foundation of a great structure, for that is precisely what you are doing. Now, you may wonder what happens if you miss a night. Let me speak to you with kindness and firmness both. No man is destroyed by one broken night. You do not lose your progress. You do not fall backward, but you must return the next evening, not with guilt, not with self-reproach, but with decision. Guilt weakens the mind. Decision strengthens it. Simply step back into the ritual, steady yourself, and continue. Remember this well. One broken night does not destroy you, but many careless nights will. The danger is not in the occasional misstep. It is in the slow drift back into unconscious living. The ritual demands consistency, not perfection. Give it your devotion, give it your intention, and guard against these traps as you would guard against thieves in the night, for they steal not your money but your destiny. Stay faithful to the practice, and the practice will remain faithful to you. There comes a moment in this journey when the technique fades into the background, and what stands in its place is the man you have become through its faithful practice. I have watched it happen in many, quietly at first, then unmistakably, a shift not merely in habit, but in identity. And now, as you approach this moment yourself, I must describe to you the transformation that is already stirring within you. You begin to walk differently. Your step grows lighter, yet more deliberate. The weight that once clung to your shoulders begins to fall away. For a man who speaks his destiny each night does not rise carrying yesterday's burden. He greets the morning as one who has already issued instruction to his world and now expects it to follow. You begin to speak differently. Your voice steadies. Your words grow fewer, yet more precise. Men around you may not know what has changed, but they will feel it. There is something settled behind your tone, a quiet conviction that cannot be faked. You speak as one who has met himself in the dark and emerged with a vow. You begin to expect opportunity, not with arrogance, but with certainty. The man who commands his subconscious is no longer surprised when fortune arrives at his door. He expects it, as a farmer expects the harvest of seeds he faithfully planted. You will find yourself noticing chances others overlook, stepping toward openings others hesitate to touch. You will move as though the road itself respects your direction. These changes are not accidents. They are the natural consequence of a man who no longer drifts into sleep as a beggar, hoping for better days, but enters the night as an architect, one who writes the blueprint of tomorrow with his own hand. I have always said thought is the only true sovereignty, and the man who uses his nights with purpose gains a power that the world cannot explain. Now let me draw the distinction clearly, that you may understand the company you are entering. The 99% sleep in confusion. They close their eyes with unfinished worries in their minds. They allow fear to choose their final thoughts. They surrender the most powerful hour of their day to fatigue, chance, or chaos, and so they wake exactly as they slept, uncertain, reactive, pulled forward by circumstances rather than purpose. But the 1% sleep under self-issued orders. Their last thought is chosen, deliberate, instructed. Their subconscious does not wander. It works. Their night is not adrift, but a direction. And because they close the day with command, they open the next one with strength. This is the true dividing line. Not wealth, not education, not birth, but mastery of the final hour. You, my friend, have stepped across that line. You are no longer shaped by the world. You are shaping your world from within. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are choosing yourself. You are no longer stumbling through each day hoping for change. You are creating the change in the sacred silence before sleep. Let these words be the seal upon your new identity. I am no longer a beggar at the door of fortune. I am the architect who writes its plans each night. Repeat it softly. Repeat it with dignity. Repeat it until the truth of it settles into your bones, for this is who you have become. A man of intention, a man of command, a man who builds his destiny not by accident but by law. Now, before we part for the night, I must leave you with the final charge, the quiet, steady fire that will carry you into the darkness with purpose. You have learned the law, you have understood the mechanism, and you have seen its power displayed in the lives of others. But knowledge alone cannot lift a man. It is the nightly practice, the faithful obedience, that draws the future into present form. So let me gather everything we have built into a few simple rhythmic truths. Truths that must echo within you long after my voice grows silent. The hour, the sentence, the repetition, the emotion. These four elements are the pillars of your transformation. Guard them, use them. Let nothing take them from you. The hour is sacred. It is the gate between your conscious world and the workshop of your subconscious. Treat it with reverence. The sentence is your command. One line, clear and definite, spoken as a master speaks to a loyal servant. No drift, no doubt, no confusion. The repetition is the force. Night after night, without apology, without delay, without changing course. For law does not move for the man who tries. It moves for the man who persists, and the emotion is the seal. For the subconscious obeys not only the words, but the spirit in which they are spoken. Now let me give you the oath. The vow that binds thought to destiny, night to day, and mind to action. Speak it slowly. Speak it with certainty. Let it become the rhythm of your becoming. Each night I command my mind. Each day my mind commands my life. Say it again, not as a whisper of hope, but as a declaration of authority. Say it until your very breath aligns with its truth. And now I leave you with an image, simple, quiet, powerful. You lie in your bed. The world softens. The room grows still. Your body becomes heavy, peaceful, ready for rest. But your mind is awake, listening, open. You speak your sentence slowly, calmly, with feeling. You let it fall into the depths of your being. You allow sleep to come while the words still echo within you. And as consciousness fades, the worker in the depths of your soul rises. He takes your sentence in his hands. He studies it. He begins arranging tomorrow's opportunities, tomorrow's clarity, tomorrow's strength. This is the quiet miracle the world never sees. This is the advantage of the few. This is the law you now command. And so, with a calm and steady certainty, I say to you, the 1% are not fortunate. They are faithful to this simple law. Tonight, you join them.